Welcome to a new session on the course School Organization, Administration and Management. In this present session, we will have a discussion on topics like correct postures in various situations, general remedial measures for proper postures, common postural defects, common postural deformities, its remedial measures, and finally suggested physical exercises for improving postural defects. First, we shall see the correct postures in various situations. Good and correct postures can be described as 1. Sitting posture. In correct sitting posture, various organs of the body and the body as a whole are balanced. The legs may be crossed, the hips are properly and comfortably placed at the seat, the head, shoulder and the hips are in a straight vertical line, and the vertebral column is perfectly vertical. Second is a standing posture. In correct standing posture, the body weight should equally fall on both the legs. The whole body should be vertical and erect. The heels should rest evenly on the flat floor. The two arms should rest on the thighs in a straight line. The head and the body should not bend forward. The body should not bend on one of its sides, and the body as a whole should be balanced. 3. Reading posture. While reading, the book should not be placed very close to the eyes. It should be at least 12 centimeters away, and the hand holding the book should form an angle of 45 degrees with the eyes. Fourth is the writing posture. While writing, the position of the table or desk should be very close to the body. The body should be in an upright position and not bent over the book. The legs should rest on the ground and the book should be at a distance of 12 inches from the eyes. The paper should be placed parallel to the edge of the desk and the pen should be held in between the thumb and two fingers. The fifth is the walking posture. While walking, the body as a whole should be erect and upright. The eyes should look straight at an angle of 90 degrees. The arms should swing alternatively along with steps, preferably up to an angle of 90 degrees from the body. The heels should touch the ground first and then the middle portion and the toes, and one should take steps in normal dimension. Let us see some of the general remedial measures for proper postures. 1. The students should be asked to take regular exercise to strengthen muscles. 2. Suitable furniture should be provided. 3. Good postural habits should be developed. 4. Stools should be provided for smaller children so that they may sit without reclining against the chair. 5. Suitable corrective postural exercises should be recommended to the students. 6. Students having defective eyesight and hearing should be seated on the front benches. 7. Rooms should be suitably ventilated. 8. Bold type books should be selected. 9. Help of school medical officer should be sought. 10. Timetable should be so arranged that students do not feel the impact of fatigue. 11. Cause of students' tension should be removed. 12. Sufficient sitting space should be provided to the students. 13. Nutritious and balanced midday meals should be provided to students. 14. Proper arrangement for sufficient light should be maintained in the classroom. 15. Teachers should check wrong postures of the students. And Finally, small children should not be engaged too much in drill. We shall now see some of the common postural defects. For want of knowledge in correct postural habit of standing, sitting and reading, students adopt faulty postures. As a result, their backbone bends, the chest becomes like a pigeon chest, the shoulders turn drooping, feet becomes flat, vision turns defective and many other deformities appear in the body. The faulty postural habits of the students develop due to home and school conditions. Let us discuss them in detail. First, we shall see the home conditions. When the home conditions become poor, children do not get proper nourishing and balanced diet. As a result, the bones and muscles of such children get weak. They feel tired within a short period of time. Wrong postural habits among the children develop for want of fresh air, sufficient light, rest and sleep. Wrong postural habits are also caused due to the type of dress children use in modern times. Many children adopt faulty postures as a fashion and convert their natural postures to artificial ones. For want of proper physical exercises and practice of developing dirty habits, children develop faulty postural habits. Now let us see the school conditions. Most of the schools provide desks and chairs with uniform size and shape. As a result, students having different physical standards fail to sit comfortably. Thus, wrong postural habits of reading and writing develops among the students. For want of proper supervision in schools in respect of fatigue and recreation, students develop them in faulty habits. Most of us overlook the faulty postural habits of the students and they develop these habits. Usually, students carry their school bags on their shoulders and this habit influences posture. Some postural defects arise when the students are continuously engaged in some work and tire their brain. Therefore, they like to change their body position simply to be relaxed. Sometimes we teachers are at fault. A teacher whose writing on the board is illegible causes children to adjust themselves. Similarly, a teacher who has developed wrong postures sets an example for children to copy and imitate them. Common postural deformities. Postural deformities imply not having proper alignment of body parts. They are exaggerated curvatures of spine. An individual who has postural deformities cannot perform his or her work efficiently. It is of utmost importance that various deformities are detected at an early age and proper steps taken at right time to prevent the deformity. Some of the common deformities are round shoulders. Round shoulders are the result of poor postures in work, faulty furniture and wrong habits of sitting and standing. It is associated with forward displacement of the shoulders. Its causes by wearing very tight clothes, sitting on improper furniture, lack of proper exercise especially of shoulders. The next is hollow back or lordosis. It is a more severe degree of round shoulders, an exaggerated forward curve of in the lumbar region producing a stoop in the upper part of the body. Prominent abdomen and a slouching gait. Lordosis causes the back to bend in either direction. Curvature also appears in the waist region. The shoulder bones in the back also seem to be bending towards the sides. Hips also protrude out. When an individual suffers from lordosis, they experience pain in their back and works like a lame person. The causes. Causes for lordosis may be an early symptom for tuberculosis of the spine or hip disease or malnutrition with poor muscles, persons having underdeveloped legs, disease of bone joints, dislocation of hips, or infantile paralysis exhibits lordosis. Even faulty standing posture results in this disease. Those who have the habit of standing on one leg suffers from this disease. To get rid of this problem, a child should be made to stand in the correct posture. There must be provision for special exercises to cure this disease. Attempts must be made to provide proper treatment on the advice of the physician. Next we shall see kyphosis or round upper back. It is the exaggeration of the normal dorsal backward curve of the spine, resulting slouching attitude, flat or depressed chest, protruding abdomen and drooped head. Its causes for kyphosis are weak muscles, long illnesses, malnutrition, deficient ventilation, overcrowded places, weak eyesight and wrong furniture. Rickets also cause kyphosis. Next is scoliosis or lateral curvature of the spine. This generally shows curvature to the left side. The spine forms a long curve. The chest is prominent on the left side, while the back is prominent on the right side due to rotation of the spine in the thoracic region. The right hip is more prominent than the left due to a displacement of the trunk to the left side. Scoliosis is of two types: structural scoliosis and functional scoliosis. Structural scoliosis is lateral spinal deviation due to rickets, osteomalacia and polio. Functional scoliosis is caused by poor walking, standing or sitting posture. There is a C-shaped lateral side curve which is generally common, or S-shaped combined curve with right lumbar curvature. Its causes: it is due to carrying heavy load on the shoulders, unhealthy school conditions like inadequate lighting arrangements, unsuitable desks, partial deafness or wrong standing postures are also its causes. Treatment: scoliosis is generally a structural deformity and it should be treated only by an orthopedic surgeon. Exercises are of no use unless they are functional and the person tries to correct himself or herself habitually. The teacher should help the children to change their poor habit patterns of postures. Besides corrective exercises, relaxation, development of correct habit pattern and well-balanced diet should not be ignored. Next we shall see flat back. It refers to a spine which has no dorsal or lumbar curves. It predisposes towards a flat chest, drooping shoulders and loss of flexibility. Next comes flat foot. In a normal foot, there are two curves or arches, one longitudinal and the other transverse. In between the big toe and the little toe, and the body weight is borne by the heel and outer side of the foot and the ball of the big toe. In flat foot, both the arches are missing. The foot muscles and ligaments supporting the bony arch become weak and the arch flattens down. The causes: putting on heavy shoes, long standing position without rest, jumping on harder surface also sometimes result in breaking or loosening of the ligaments of the bony arch, or injury and overweight may also be some of its causes. Treatment: special shoes such as raising the inner side of the soles and heels To throw body weight onto the other side of the feet will help. Remedial exercises to strengthen the muscles which keep up the arch will help. Walking on outer sides of the feet is good. Long standings should be avoided. In case of pain in the feet, give complete rest. Next we shall see knock knee. In knock knee, when the child stands, the knees join together and the feet parallel. There is a big gap between the ankles varying directly with the degree of deformity. Its causes: rickets, deficiency of vitamin D and calcium in the diet, prolonged standing, flat foot, obesity, heavy body weight and some long illnesses can cause it. Its treatment: use of cod liver oil in the diet will help in removing the deficiency of vitamin D. Treatment for flat foot should be given. Avoid prolonged standings. Horse riding is the best exercise. Wearing of walking irons will help. Massage by physiotherapist will also help. Remedial measures. In order to correct the defective postures of the students, we must first ensure a balanced diet for them. They may be asked to take regular exercise to strengthen their muscles and bones. Fresh air, rest and sleep should also be ensured. Overwork should be avoided and excessive fatigue should not be allowed to happen. Good postural habits should be inculcated in them by paying proper attention to them while they are sitting, standing, walking, reading or writing. Their vision and hearing should be examined and students with defective eyesight and hearing should be seated in the front row. Along with mass drill, march past and yogasanas, suitable corrective exercises should be recommended for the needed children. There should be suitable uniform or dress for all. Books use should be of bold type and classrooms should be spacious and well ventilated. Stools should be provided for smaller children so that they may learn to sit without reclining against the back of the chair. The suitability of furniture should be ensured. The suggested physical exercises for improving postural defects. There are numerous exercises for improving postural defects. The problem is that of appropriate selection. At the slightest sign of pain, inflammation, swelling or unusual fatigue, the exercises should be discontinued until the causes have been determined and medical advice obtained for continuing or changing the exercises. Some exercises are suggested by A.S. Daniels and E.A. Davies for improving certain postural deformities. First one, for improving the head and neck position. Sitting with head and neck erect, then turn head and neck to right and left, turn by turn, touching chin to clavicle. Standing with back to wall, touching with buttocks, shoulders and back of head. Then raise chest, flatten lower back, pull in the abdomen and press the back of the head against the wall. Hold this position for a few seconds and then repeat. Lying on back, arms stretched sideways and palms down. Then raise chest, arching upper back. Support weight on back of head, arms and hips. Hold the position for a few seconds and repeat. Standing position with sandbag or pitcher balanced on top of head. Then walk with the weight balanced on the head. Now for improving round upper back and kyphosis, lie on back with knees drawn up and feet flat on the ground and hands at sides. Then move arms up horizontally even with shoulders palms up. Then move arms along floor to position overhead. Hold for a few seconds and repeat. Prone lying, hands on hips. Then raise head and trunk with chin in several inches from floor. Down and repeat. Sitting position. Neck firm and fingers laced behind head. Then stretch trunk, neck, head and elbows upwards, keeping back straight and trunk erect. Sitting with a wand held in horizontal position overhead, hands well spread. Then lower and raise wand before head, behind head and shoulders, with head and trunk quite erect. For improving kypholordosis, prone lying, hands under abdomen, then keep hips and shoulders down, press hands up on abdomen and raise lower back. Lying on back, knees drawn up, arms overhead with elbows bent, then separate knees, touching soles of feet together. While exhaling, draw knees towards chest, keeping hips on floor, down and repeat. Prone lying, hands clasped behind lower back. Then press elbows together, drawing shoulder blades together, pushing hands towards the feet. For improving lordosis or hollow back, stride standing position. The trunk flexion, grasping left ankle with both hands and pulling trunk downwards for 3 counts. Repeat to opposite side. Sitting position, knees extended and feet spread. Then reach forward, grasping ankles, pull trunk forward, relaxed bounce for 3 counts. This exercise may also be gone through with feet together instead of spreading. Sitting position, knees extended, feet together and hands at sides. Then bend forward, touching fingers to toes, hold 3 counts, relax and repeat. Next, for strengthening the abdominal wall, lying on back, knees bent and feet flat on the floor, then contract the abdominal muscles and relax. Lying on back with hands placed behind head, then flex knees and side heels along floor until they touch buttocks. Keep back flat, return and repeat. Lying on back, legs extended, feet together and hands at sides. Then raise legs so that the heels are just above the floor. Spread feet well apart, bring feet together, lower to floor, relax and repeat. For improving scoliosis or curvature of the spine, prone lying, right arm upward, left arm at side, then move right arm in and arc towards the left overhead. Press down with left hand and slide left hip up. Prone lying, right arm extended forward, left arm at side. Partner holds feet firmly to floor. Then extend the trunk, the right arm pushed forward and the left arm pushed backward. Hold 3 counts, relax and repeat. Standing feet a few inches apart, then raise left heel and left hip. Extend right arm in an arc overhead to the left. Press left hand against ribs on left side. For improving the feet, sitting position with knees fixed, feet together and flat on the floor. Then place hands on floor behind the back. Raise inner border of feet, keeping toes and heels on floor. Standing position with toes turned in. Then rise on balls on feet, shifting weight to outside of each other. Hold position and then return heels to floor. Walking, walk about distances with heels raised and weight on outer borders of the balls of feet. Sitting, sit with legs extended, then cross the left leg over the right one with toes fixed, foot circling in and up, out and down. Alternate movements for each foot. Let us now summarize some of the important points which we have just discussed. Posture is more than a mere physical condition. Good posture is that in which the body is held without any sense of effort, with its weight equally distributed over both legs and feet so as to produce least fatigue. It is also a reflection of moods and emotions. It indicates the attitude not only of the body but also of the mind. No one can achieve perfect posture without a conscious effort to do so. It is a good practice to check the postural habits frequently. The importance of posture lies in the fact that there is a definite relationship between good health and good body posture. Painful conditions associated with poor posture are so common that most frequent complaint research shows neck, shoulder and arm palm has been increasingly widespread as a result of postural dysfunction. It is of utmost importance that various deformities are detected at an early age and proper steps taken at right time to prevent the deformity. The common deformities found in children are spinal curvature, knock knees, flat foot, bow legs, etc. There are a number of exercises for improving postural defects. The problem is that of appropriate selection. At the slightest sign of pain, inflammation, swelling or unusual fatigue, the exercise should be discontinued until the cause have been determined and medical advice obtained for continuing or changing the exercises. The importance of good posture lies in the fact that there is a definite relationship between good health and good posture. In primary schools, those children who have been taught to practice good posture have fewer absences from the school as compared to other children. There is clinical evidence to prove that good posture is very important both as preventive and as a cure of disorders like gout, backache, foot trouble and abnormalities of menstruation. Thank you for watching the session on postures part 2. See you again with a new topic. Till then, goodbye.